doctor. You are knowledgeable of the science of medicine, but there is also the art, the skill of execution of your knowledge. The greater your creativity in exercising that knowledge, then you become a skilled artist at your craft. So you're not only involved in the science of medicine, you are involved in the art of healing. Now, this world, however, is a world that has been more physical than spiritual. And it has not yet learned how to link the spiritual with the physical. So as you become a scientist and skilled at healing the physical, what is the standard by which you measure the health of the person spiritually, morally, and mentally? Now, you know the criterion for the physical body, but what is the criterion for the spiritual, the mental? That is not taught. But
Welcome. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. Welcome to the How to Save Lives broadcast. Today's topic, as some of you may have seen, is let's talk about self-image versus health. On my Facebook page, as some of you have probably saw the post from our brother Rizza Islam, he had a guest, Mr. Aries Spears, who talked about the image of our sister Lizzo. But he made some very good points that I'd like us to hear and I'd like to share just before we get started. Also, have your questions available because today we will have ample time to take questions because of the topic. I want you to be comfortable. I want us to take a moment and address this very critical, vital topic, self-image versus health. And I'll share my screen so we can start with that video.
But I've had people send me clips where people have said certain things about her that I said and no ramifications. Yeah. There was a clip where she was playing a flute on stage and she was bent over and was twerking. Yes. And one of the comments, somebody even said, I think it came from a woman, it's getting harder and harder to defend you, sis. Predominantly women were the main ones that were mad at me, specifically black women. You know, black women have this mantra, yes, queen, yes, slay, queen, slay, yes, girl, your confidence. And I get it, because in this country, black female solidarity and unity is needed, because this country has always gone out of its way to make my women, black women, from a beauty standpoint, feel less than. Right. Image and representation is important because it helps shapes perception. Absolutely. I find that rather ironic that America would go out of its way to ridicule black women, my women, a lot of times for their facial and physical features. Mm-hmm. The same facial and physical features that a lot of non-black women are purchasing today. That's a fact. So I get it. Yes, queen, yes, slay, queen, slay, girl, your confidence. I get it. But my thing is to black women, if I would speak to them, you got to be careful with that because there's a dual responsibility that comes with that. Your celebration in regards to Lizzo's confidence and women like her is admirable and commendable. Mm-hmm. The truth is your silence in regards to the truth is dangerous.
Yes.
Because you won't talk about hypertension, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. While you steady going, yes, queens, yes, slay, queen, slay. I don't know the statistics, maybe you do. Is it high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes one of the leading causes of death in the black community?
That's fact.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So at what point
Absolutely.
do you weigh yes, queen, yes, slay, queen, slay, versus what could be harmful, deadly, and detrimental to your sister?
You know
If it's
what?
about real sisterhood, if it's about real female unity, is it that more important?
Yes. And that is exactly the point where I was going with it. We're
Okay. Thank you for your patience. So let's talk about that. That is a very real situation. Of course, Black women and Black men, but in this instance, the focus was on a Black woman, a popular, quote unquote, celebrity, oversized sister who is comfortable, it appears, in her own skin, being obese and making it okay to accept that you're obese and to accept who you are and what it feels like to just embrace and not have your self-esteem damaged. Well, yes, to a point, as Brother Aries Spears stated, he understands, and I understand, and we all understand to accept those where they are. However, our community is flooded, is infiltrated with poor conditions, poor health, poor food choices, and just poor choices when it comes to really taking care of ourselves. So I showed that clip because it speaks to someone outside of the Nation of Islam or someone outside of a religious or health ridden type of company or organization. So it's not looked at as being biased or partial. Most people want to improve their health if they have any of the conditions that plague the Black community. Most people work with their weight. I want to slim down, or I want to tone up, or whatever that case is. So he was very much so on point, as one of the viewers stated. He was very much on point. So I started with that, and now I will go to a few statistics and give an interpretation on the statistics and where they come from, because some of the statistics are coming from health, quote unquote, health organizations. Some are coming from this one particular is coming from a collaborative effort of organizations that address minority health. Okay, so I will start with just showing you a few statistics before we get to a discussion. I want us to have a discussion about this. Okay. That, come out of here. One second. Got it. Okay, while those are uploading again, don't hesitate to post questions and we can address them. Okay. Now, top health conditions in the Black community. And this is not foreign at all to us. We've seen it over and over and over again in our communities. High blood pressure, diabetes, breast cancer, prostate cancer, stroke, and of course, heart disease, also a part of this. But I just put the top 5 there. But the top 5 is different depending on who actually is doing the study, as you will see in just a second. Okay. Health disparities among African Americans. Now, this was a study that was conducted by Pfizer, but it wasn't really conducted by Pfizer. Pfizer just pulled together the studies from 12 or 14 other organizations that did the studies, and they just, put their name on it to promote that they're doing something as far as African American health. So they pulled together the studies that were already done, and I will share those organizations that did the studies. But as we know, compared to their white counterparts, African Americans are generally at higher risk for heart diseases, stroke, cancer, asthma, influenza and pneumonia, diabetes, and HIV/AIDS, according to the Office of Minority Health, which is part of the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, the study was conducted by the Office of Minority Health, which is a federal agency that develops health policies and programs to improve, quote unquote, improve the health of racial and ethnic minorities. Also contributing to this study was the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The African American Health Disparities by Cigna. We have an insurance company. They conduct their studies, or they pull studies that were already done and compile them and present them to the community. The National Kidney Foundation was a part of those figures that were listed. The American Cancer Society. The coronavirus in African Americans and other colored people, which was conducted by Johns Hopkins Medicine. Racial and ethnic minority groups, again, the Center for Disease Control. COVID-19 hospitalization and death by race and ethnicity by the Centers for Disease Control. Health disparities by race and ethnicity by the Center for American Progress. The FAST Facts for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And African Americans and Heart Disease, Stroke by heart.org. The Cardiovascular Health in African Americans, which is a scientific statement from the American Heart Association. And lastly, the American College of Physicians, the Racial and Ethnic Disparities in Healthcare. So all of those, I read all of those organizations that contributed to this top 5 list, because it's important to know where the influence is coming from. Again, as you'll see in the next 2 slides. So the next slide, this is 5 health conditions that affect the Black community at higher rates. This was done by CNBC, February 17th of this year. And this is their 5. Cardiovascular disease, human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, metabolic syndrome, colon cancer, and mental health conditions. So CNBC posted that study in February. So what, and again, this is compiled from the work that they did from other studies. Again, it was compiled from a gathering of other studies for supposedly this is the work that they were doing on behalf of the African American or Black community to give us some information on how we can prevent this, supposedly the preventive measures. Now, from what I understand, CNBC has a major influence from Warren Buffett. And we know some of those billionaires and the influence of those top billionaires and millionaires, their influence on health and where they want to direct those health programs or lack thereof. Okay, I'll just say that also. And then the last slide before we get into some questions and some other issues regarding image, self-image versus health. And this, again, this is the 5 health conditions that disproportionately affect the Black community. Now, this is on the first slide. These are the 5 conditions on the first slide, which really parallel what is the top 5 based upon the research that has been done by the Investigational Review Board that I'm a part of: hypertension, breast cancer, prostate cancer, diabetes, and stroke. And this was done by a group of urgent care facilities. And who knows best but those who are seeing these people come through the emergency room that are diagnosed with these top 5 that are seeking assistance, acute assistance, refills on medications, referrals to specialists. And those urgent cares are across the country: Arkansas, California, Connecticut, Delaware. They're spanning the entire width of the country. And this is what they have reported. And I actually agree more with this because this is what I see. And this is what the IRB has skewed out as those top conditions. Okay. So now, if we could start with self-image. And we're not posted. I noticed that there aren't really many questions that are being posted. The day that I really have time and got my gloves on and got my sleeves pulled up, ready to dive into some questions, no one is posting any questions, but that's okay. We will move right forward. So self-image, as again, our brother Aries Spears and others point out, and I don't want to single out women because men also they're not as concerned, it appears, with their self-image as much as the female. However, it's important that male or female, there's an attachment to a healthier self-image. Along with obesity comes the increased risk of all of those conditions that we saw: high blood pressure, breast cancer, prostate cancer, stroke, diabetes. That's why obesity is potentially a risk factor for debilitation and death, chronic conditions that are very difficult to manage. So if there's someone with obesity, it's not too late. There are plenty of people who have done remarkable improvements to their life, to their quality of life, in dialing back obesity. However, prevention is the key. Prevention is critical, 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 critical. As it goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So we want to prevent these conditions. We want to stave them off as long as possible. Now let's go to the other end of the spectrum with self-image. Let's look at as you may have seen on the flyer, you see the sister who's nice and in shape, and then you see, our Black brother, he's in shape. However, again, a misconception of self-image. Just because someone may go to the health club a lot, or they may be in the gym a lot. Okay. Does that necessarily equal good health? No, not in particular. It does not. It does not necessarily equal good health, because unfortunately, most of our people who exercise on a regular basis and lift weights, very few of them are doing it without the assistance of some of the harmful proteins that are necessary to help build muscle. So with that, you can put yourself on a road to kidney disease. The kidneys are very sensitive to that high protein content, very sensitive. The brain, very sensitive to high protein content. So that's extremely important to know. So, and there are people who exercise that smoke. They indulge in alcoholic beverages on a consistent basis. I mean, yeah. So again, it's not important to fashion yourself after one image or the other. Definitely not the image of being overweight or obese, because again, it's about the health component that comes along with obesity, that comes along with being overweight. So let's take some questions. I wanted to get into that a little bit and show some of the conditions that are linked with it, and also support the person wherever their self-image is. But we need to encourage each other. As Mr. Spears said, well, your sisters need to, they need to help and encourage you, not necessarily to perpetuate that body image, but encourage you to get healthy, to do what needs to be done to bring yourself out of the condition of obesity and being overweight. Okay, so I would like to post a question here. When the people have one or more of these conditions, how much do pills help if they already have a condition? Well, pills can help. In all transparency, pills can help. They can help do a little bit of the work for you, as well as cause some side effects. Pills can help if you have high blood pressure and you go to your, traditional doctor. And I don't like to say traditional. I like to say conventional. You go to a conventional or allopathic provider, and that person will give you medication to control blood pressure, to control your diabetes, to control cholesterol, to control an abnormal heart rate. So yes, there are pills that can help to do just that. Now, will those pills help to dial back the effects of blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol? No. It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid, and it comes with its own risks of side effects that eventually cause abnormalities of the kidneys, the heart, the liver. Very important. So, of course, I'm always encouraging, supporting the viewers to find a naturopathic physician, an herbalist, experienced herbalist, those people who know how to help you to heal. They know how to help you to heal. That's important. That's very, very, very important. So you do need that. You do need a person who is versed in natural health and healing versus just your traditional, again, not traditional, your conventional allopathic doctor who gives a pill to help you with a condition. Your body will heal itself. It's a self-healing organism. We were created like that. The body was created to self-heal. You just need to give it what it needs to do the healing. And truly, truly, it is as simple as that. And most times than not, you can reverse the effects of high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic kidney disease. I've had experience with patients that were on dialysis. Of course, they say when you're on dialysis, you can never come off of dialysis. That's not true. And if you talk to enough natural doctors, they'll tell you that's not true. Thank you. Thank you, whoever's behind any right. Thank you for that question. I'll take another question. Oh, same viewer. My sister is, okay, I'm sorry. You said my sister is right, because I go to the gym and I see many people shoot up and take something in a pill form. Right. Or take something in a pill form. Yeah, it's, wow, that's a whole different topic. When you have those who are supposedly healthy and what they're taking to help keep them bulked up is harmful to kidneys, liver, heart. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. I believe he's had two valve replacements. I know he's had one, but I believe he's had two valve replacements. Those bodybuilders or those quote unquote healthy people who lift weights strenuously, and consistently, that also can cause an issue with the heart if you're taking substances that are not the healthiest choices for you to maintain that bulk. And all that's not necessary. Again, self-image. Be satisfied with the body that God gave you. Now, I was taught many years ago when I first started in practicing medicine that a healthy body weighs a healthy weight, and the weight that you were in high school, maybe your junior or senior year in high school, if you had a pretty healthy lifestyle, I mean, that's what, 17, 18, 16, 17, around there, unless you had some medical conditions that were caused from birth. Around that time, you're at your healthiest, especially if you're playing any team sports, you're active, and you're immersed in your education, and you're doing a lot. Your body weight at the time you were between 16 to 18. What was that? So if you were not overweight or obese or even underweight, there's some people that were underweight. So let's just say you were at a nice healthy weight, you felt good, you were strong, That's a general gauge for where you should be, or where you should possibly try to focus your energies to going back to, or close to that. It doesn't have to be exact, but that's what you can use as your gauge of how you were back in high school. That is a general gauge of your weight, of a good true weight. Now, they do have the height and weight charts and the ideal body weight and those things. Please go to someone who knows what the value of those things are and aren't. The charts that they have are not necessarily health charts. No. So go to someone who knows you, who knows about a fair amount about the human body, so we can let you know, okay, this says you need to be 140, and based upon this, nope, you probably should be about 145. So there's a gauge. Sometimes these charts are, they weren't necessarily designed for the Black person in particular. They weren't. Okay, any other questions that I can take? Okay, so I have a question here. Let me put the question. I'm sorry, the question was there by my producer. I'm sorry. Okay, can you teach on enlarged prostate? Well, there are several factors that can influence an enlarged prostate. And most times, these factors are common among African American men or Black men. The prostate is a topic of great debate in our communities. Prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is overdiagnosed and overtreated in the Black community for the Black male. It has been documented that an enlarged prostate occurs in almost all men, an overwhelming majority of men that are 65 or older. That enlargement is not necessarily linked to abnormal cellular behavior. It's not necessarily linked to that. And however, it has been and is being linked to abnormal cellular behavior and cancer, being diagnosed with an enlarged prostate, and then that gives rise to that there is a problem. I mean, there's cancer. Let's do a biopsy and let's take you right and let's remove the prostate, or give you proton beam therapy, or let's give you chemotherapy, radiation therapy. No. There is a study that has been posted on my Facebook page, Patrice Muhammad, as well as my Facebook page, Health at its Best, where the investigational review board that I spoke about, that I'm a part of, we conducted prostate cancer research on those studies. And we uncovered some unsettling information, to say the least. And we are working diligently to get this information to as many men as possible and to spread it far and wide. We've done maybe 5 or 6 videos, interviews, I should say, that are now videos that you can view on what we've discovered. We have what I would say a landmark study on bringing to the forefront that there is no set gold standard criteria, meaning the absolute standard on how prostate cancer is diagnosed. There is no set diagnostic criteria for prostate cancer. So we have been urging any of our brothers, any Black men who have been diagnosed with prostate cancer, to please contact us, because you need to get a second opinion, a third opinion, maybe a fourth opinion. And we are having an open forum or town hall meeting, if you will, on prostate cancer on August 7th here in Chicago at Salam Community Wellness Center. It's October 7th, Saturday, and it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we will have physicians there who will be available to give you a consultation, a second opinion, a third opinion. So please join us, and you will register. I was going to give this information at the end, and my brother asked the question, but we want you to join us. We want you to register. It's a free event. It's free. We're providing the information to you free because we want people to come and not be discouraged, or we don't want people to be discouraged because they can't pay to register to get the information. No, we're trying to give you the information. So that again is at Salam Community Wellness Center. We will put that information in the chat so you can have it. And please join us if you can. Oh, also, we will have the information where you can join us on a Zoom. It'll be a Zoom meeting also where you can join in. We will unmute you to ask questions because we want it to be as interactive and give as much information as we can. So the important takeaway, King Me, is all enlarged prostates, the majority of enlarged prostates are not cancer. They're not cancerous. So please get a second opinion. We'll have my information does scroll. So please contact me. Contact us at Salam. You will have information to contact me at Health at Its Best. There it is. As well as the Salam Community Wellness Center. I will put that in the chat, but there's my information scrolling. healthatitsbest.org, O-R-G. And please, you can follow me and get my information from Instagram and Facebook. Okay. So I hope I've given you enough of that information right now. Because that's the best information I have to share at this time is don't worry, it's not always cancer. And enlarged prostate most times is due to a condition called benign prostatic hypertrophy. Just means the prostate tissue enlarges. There are different influences. Of course, there's a strong dietary influence on why the prostate enlarges. And we have started doing some studies to show the influence of diet on causing prostate cancer as a cause, as a possible cause, not necessarily in and of itself, not necessarily, it's possible, but we're looking at that as being a major cause of prostate cancer. So again, please join us, and you'll have the information to register. I will put that information in the chat for you to register. Please give us a call and register, and you will be sent the Zoom code for the discussion, the open forum discussion. Okay, I have another question here. ASA says, I believe this says could take Paximune and ivermectin. Could you please rephrase the question so I can know if you're asking about if I support taking Paximune and ivermectin, or should you take it? I want it to be as direct as possible. Sister Elizabeth, please. just send a little bit more clarifying information. Okay. All right, I'll take another one. How hard is it for the body to bounce back after the cancer radiation treatments? Or is it the body ever the same? Well, that's a question for God. Is the body ever the same? Because, so I'll just start with the first part of the question first. How hard is it for the body to bounce back after cancer radiation treatments? That's an individual journey. And that is based upon that person's ability to heal. Because even when the body is given an offending agent or food or a substance that is toxic to it, the body can recover if it has a good immune foundation. If there's good immunity, if there's a good immune foundation, then you can recover. But most times you get cancer or you get a tumor, cancerous tumor, because there is no good immune foundation. When the immune system is functioning properly, then it is very capable of finding and killing and defeating and ridding the body, getting rid of that toxin out of the body. It is very capable of doing that. So if a person had cancer radiation treatment, what I would suggest, what I would recommend is that you get on an immune strengthening protocol. Strengthen the immune system, because the immune system had definitely taken a hit, a major hit, with the toxicity of cancer radiation. So it's very toxic. Of course, it's trying to kill the cancerous cell, but it kills many, 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 many healthy cells that your body needs to fight. So I will recommend a good immune strengthening program. And you can contact us for that. You can contact your own naturopathic physician in your area to build a program specifically for you to help come out of, or the person that you're asking the question for, to help come out of the damage that cancer treatment can do. Okay. And yes, some people can come back from it just fine if they do the right things after it. I suggest and recommend that if there is a diagnosis of cancer, that you reach someone who has ability to help you prior to having that toxic therapy, because sometimes you may not have to have it. You might if you opt to do that, but there are well qualified, expert natural cancer doctors. They're not necessarily MDs, but they're doctors, they're providers, and they do very well. They do very well in helping patients with cancer. And yes, they may refer a patient for those treatments, but most times they do not. They're able to catch them where they are and provide therapy. I'm not talking about herbals. I'm not just talking about taking some tablets or just getting, like the chelation therapy. No, there are some things that they do, that some other procedures that they do, just not as toxic as the standard chemotherapy and radiation treatment modalities. Okay. I'll take another one. Okay. Can I? Okay, sorry, my sister having. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sister. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to necessarily post a personal. If this is personal, but if someone has COVID, I am not personally. I'm not an advocate of ivermectin because there are some natural, effective, very effective supplements and herbals that you can take outside of ivermectin. Ivermectin it's a chemical drug. It's a chemical synthetic drug, which the body processes much differently than a natural herbal or even a whole food supplement that can be effective. I mean, of course, at the time of COVID, at the height of COVID, I saw many patients. I'm not going to say I saw, thousands, no, but hundreds. And so with those patients, I didn't have to use ivermectin once. I didn't use ivermectin once. Paximune, I don't know about Paximune. I don't know much about Paximune. There is the original product that was used for HIV, which is an immunotherapy. It's an amino acid immunotherapy that has high antiviral coverage. It helps to boost the immune system, and it can kill and got rid of HIV. For one historic person at the Million Man March, we have that immortalized for the Million Man March. So it's called Immune Boost 100. So I'm familiar with that. And that's what I recommended for my patients during COVID, along with some other things, depending on how severe it was. I've had some patients that were a step away from going to the hospital, that I just wanted to give them one effort at home, because when you go to the hospital, a lot of times when you're in a respiratory distress, you go on a ventilator and you don't make it out at that time. And so I was trying my absolute best. And I didn't have one patient that had to go to the hospital. Thank God. Not one patient that had to go to the hospital. So I thank Allah for that. So if there's anyone who wants a consultation regarding their symptoms for COVID, I do offer free COVID consultations. So that still extends. You can reach me at www.healththatisbest.org. Send me a message from the website, and we can set up a free consultation for you. Okay. And we are rounding out. We have just about 10 minutes here. If we have any other questions. Okay, let's see. All right, let me put the information in the chat to make sure I have it. And please, we have a little under 10 minutes, so please post your questions if you have any question at all. This is yes, it started as self-image. Yes, we've talked about those health conditions. Some of the earlier broadcasts did go into treatments, potential modalities for high blood pressure, diabetes, those types of things. So those videos are already done. You can just look at any one of them at any time and get that information. I do plan to do more focused videos on particular conditions, including cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and do the whole broadcast going through a more detailed assessment of those conditions, possible causes, and the treatment modalities, natural treatment modalities for those. So that'll be coming up for the November, December months of the broadcast. We already had gone into the broadcast of next week. The week after. It's the first week of October, that'll be for me the 5th, October 5th, Thursday, because October 7th is Saturday when we will have the program and the open forum discussion on prostate cancer. The broadcast right before that event will be dedicated to laying a little bit of a foundation and giving some information on what the Investigational Review Board has found. So people will come prepared with their questions. They can come with any documentation that you have, any labs, any blood work, of course, any diagnostic studies, ultrasounds, CT scans, MRI, anything that you have, any biopsy results. We will have doctors there for consultation purposes for you. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you so much. Any right. This is one program everyone should be tuned into, especially with the health conditions among us. Beautiful information. Says, oh, thank you. Thank you. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to God. Thank you so much. This is my sister here, Patricia A. Muhammad. Very highly informative. Love this. Thank you, Sister Patricia. All praise is due to Allah. Okay, I'm going to put the information for the salams. Please, I'm going to post this in the chat for the salam. 1 second. So you all can have this information for the event. If you know anyone, it could be a father, brother, cousin, uncle, whomever, please give the information for the event on prostate cancer open forum discussion. Okay, here it is. Okay. There it is. And now I'm going to also put a phone number to call to register for the event. And this is the for Salam Community Wellness. And also I'll also put the information there for Health at its Best. I'm going to give you the number for Health at its Best also. All right, here we are. Okay. Okay, so that's Health at its Best. 773-435-9493. I'm sorry, that is from Closing the Gap. Oh boy, that's from Salam Community Wellness Center. And this is from Health at its Best. So you can call Salam Community Wellness Center, or you can call Health at its Best at that number and register. Salam Community Wellness or Health at its Best to register. And don't forget to reach out if you'd like a second opinion for prostate cancer. We will be upcoming to speak about breast cancer. prostate cancer was the initial study from the male and female. That was the very first study. And partly because there are more men that do not get prostate cancer exams than women who don't get breast exams. And it's a vital, critical issue with prostate cancer with Black men. Not that breast cancer isn't. Prostate cancer is overdiagnosed and overtreated at alarming rates. Alarming, absolutely alarming rates. And it requires some special attention. Okay. Very, very serious. And we definitely will be talking about women and breast cancer. And there are some strides and inroads for breast cancer, I must say. Could be much, much better. But in comparison to prostate cancer, they are just causing our Black men to get these procedures, removing the prostate, causing, male issues unnecessarily, as well as causing them to have procedures, serious modalities of chemotherapy, proton beam therapy, radiation therapy that's damaging. So we will be addressing those issues. And it's more men on the panel, of course, that you will hear from, that you will see. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to educating our community and helping our community to lessen our incidents of death and debilitation. Okay. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of the program. I thank you all for asking questions. I was looking for questions. I'm so happy that I did have the questions that I had. And I'm striving to make sure that the broadcasts that we do have room for question and answer, because yes, it's important for the information to spread to the viewers, but it's also equally important for questions to be asked, so that when you ask a question, you get information that you can not only impart to your families, but you can go out and share the information with as many others as you can. You internalize it for yourself. You spread it among your family and friends, and that helps. It helps to minimize the death and destruction and the illness and the conditions that we don't have to have in our communities when we share the information and point them towards where they can get help and information. We must be better in giving life-giving information to our people. And lastly, we can never, ever, ever spread the word of how to eat to live enough, because if that is taught among the general population, then the self-image of obesity would never be glamorized. Thank you all for attending this episode, listening in, tuning in to How to Save Lives. And I look forward to our next episode when we discuss prostate cancer. Thank you for joining, and have a good evening. Peace to you all.
This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.